welcome back to the Inside Connection podcast, powered by MediConnect Insurance. And friends, listen here. This is a big one. Long overdue, I would say, and but still, albeit excited to have my great friend, the legendary broadcaster himself, Mr. Rob Pratte, the head of the Pratte Pack, with us today on the Inside Connection. Rob, first and foremost, thank you so much for taking the time to join us today. And how are you?
I'm always good when I'm with you or anything that has to do with MediConnect. And being that I'm 66, any chance I get to talk to you about Medicare and all the good things that come with it, it's a good day.
Totally agree. And, before we go much further, I do have to say that I don't know if there's anybody that has been more involved and so powerful in our growth at MediConnect Insurance than you. We started the relationship with the radio show a little over 5 years ago due to the behemoth fighting that was taking place back in 2018. And, now that we're, a few years further along and the radio show is still kicking every weekend, the relationship's stronger than ever. I would be very much remiss if I didn't, first and foremost, thank you for allowing us to ride shotgun on the radio programming during the weekend. And thank you for the partnership, truly.
Well, it was a tough time, very tedious time. Healthcare is everything. It's one of the single most important commodities in your life.
Mm-hmm.
And when people were on that high wire with no safety net, wondering what they were going to do, we were that comfort zone for them. And we were that destination for them to come to on Saturdays at 9 on KDKA in the morning to be able to navigate the waters and give them a little peace of mind. So really a big deal of gratitude goes to your crew here at MediConnect, led by Brian Breisinger, because you were just such a welcome sigh of relief for people who were wondering where that thing was going to go. And it all worked out, thank goodness.
And Rob, we just got you signed up for Social Security.
Thank you for that.
Absolutely. And as a really an offshoot of a radio program that we had with you a few weeks ago, where the great Elaine Cole,
she's tremendous,
was able to join us and give a lot of information related to Social Security. You jumped right in, got your profile set up. You came in today so that we could get you, those wages that you definitely earned all these years. So now that you're here, let's take a step back to 1985 when the radio career started. And, how did you get involved? You've been such a stalwart here in Southwestern Pennsylvania. Talk about your love for our area and why this means so much to you and why you continue doing it still.
Well, listen, obviously I am of retirement age.
Mm-hmm.
Now I am on Social Security and I have, invested, I think, pretty wisely. But I have such passion for this region and the growth of future generations that I believe as long as I have an opportunity to use the great brand that's Odyssey and KDKA and shows like the Inside Connection, I want to pay it forward. I stood on the shoulders of giants the greatest generation, who gave me an opportunity to have the gifts of growing up and really living a childhood dream, being on KDKA radio, which has been a part of my life since my earliest recollection.
Mm-hmm.
And I have never seen results anywhere else that KDKA does. And this partnership with MediConnect, I can't tell you how many times throughout the week people go, thank goodness for that show. Many of my peers, because they're my age, because we're all getting to that point now where we've got to jump in. And there's a whole lot of stuff happening in Medicare. So it's nice to have MediConnect, who doesn't charge for their services, who is connected to all the major healthcare carriers in this region, giving us the opportunity to drill down on what we need and tailor make those healthcare decisions that fit all of us in our particular needs. So it's a good deal. It's a win-win for everybody.
Totally agree with you. And, Odyssey, with, the home of KDKA Radio, which, again, the longest standing radio station in America. I think the first, there was a presidential election. It was
November 2nd, 1920, Harding Cox election. Yep.
1920. My goodness, over 100 years ago now. And here we are, again, blessed to be able to talk about Medicare on your program. So, you yourself of age now, and a lot of your colleagues and friends are starting to reach out to you a little bit. What do you feel is so important about our program in relation to the, how overwhelming all of this information is? Like, what type of questions are you consistently fielding related to Medicare or becoming of age?
Well, I think that's pretty simple to answer. This is the stalwart. This is the foundation now, because we don't have those jobs that we once had, the manufacturing jobs that, You and Brian, both being Pittsburghers, understand what Pittsburgh was about. The steel industry, you punched the time clock day after day, summer, winter, spring, and fall. 30 years later, you got the gold watch, the pension, and you had health care the rest of your life. Well, that's
Yeah.
all changed. So you understand the brick and mortar of MediConnect that goes out and talks to people on a regular basis are people like me who've worked maybe in corporate America or been entrepreneurs or had their own business, but it's a different path to retirement. So never before has Medicare been such a gift, but you've got to get it right. And that's why you need MediConnect, because that's what you do.
I mean, I would say it's our aspiration to one day be synonymous with, if you need Medicare help, you just got to go to MediConnect. Like, that's where we're ultimately trying to go with our branding and so forth. But, harken back a little bit to, the region that we work in, we're blessed to call home. I've been on the radio program many times, talked about the fact that my parents still live in the south side of Pittsburgh, that when they cross the bridge, they think they're going on vacation, which is crazy to me. But
I get it.
Why is this area so important to you? And I say that with all due respect because of the fact that with the gift of gab that you have, you could do this anywhere. So why is this home to you? What is so, I don't know, important or just, keeps you going with this community and what we serve?
Well, your headquarters, of course, is in Crafton. And when
Correct.
you think of Crafton, you think of Bill Cower. You think
True.
of the Steelers. I think of the Rooneys. I think of the North Side. I think of the South Side, where you guys are from. The skyline of Pittsburgh, the Beaver Valley, the Ohio Valley, the Mon Valley. It's my home. It's where I want to be. My children were born here. They're still here. And I believe because of the opportunities I've been given, I can at least continue to promote and hopefully build back to a better place for this region, to give young children like my children the same opportunities to stay. Great place to raise a family. And more importantly, it's just a great place to create memories that go from one generation to the next. You don't have to go very far to understand why there's no place like home.
Yeah, I mean, there's truly not. I mean, you talk about the hometown football team, and when they travel, the crowd is full of their Kellers, right? Because, even though unfortunately a lot of people have been displaced, this is still home to so many people. So very powerful point that you just made there. So, as we, start looking to wrap up this segment and talking a lot about Medicare and the things that we're passionate about educating the consumers and our audience on, what are some of the things that you have taken away from our programming that have really said, okay, wait, maybe I do need to go back and listen to that because that was something that sounded really important and you're thankful that you did?
You got to have a plan. You got to be prepared. But it's heavy lifting. It's really out of my wheelhouse. And to be able to just simply, as we did today, going through all of the things that we had to go through to get me signed up and to get those checks being directly deposited into my bank beginning at the end of next month, MediConnect got the answers because you're the pros. This is what you do every day. You got to have experts. You can only do so much. And look, I've worked too long, too hard, been away from my family, long days and nights, made a lot of sacrifices, as everybody has. But one thing you got to get right is your health care. Because when you get to be my age, yeah, life changes, but it can also sadly change for a bad reason, your health.
Right.
And the last thing that you want to deal with when you are living this stage of your life is by getting medical treatment, not so much just concerned about if you're going to get better, but what's going to be in the mailbox when you get home as far as the bills rolling in. You need to have the right coverage, and the government gives us an opportunity with this great brand that's Medicare, and we in this region have the single most important source in MediConnect.
Well, we thank you for saying as much, and we, when you give us that torch to run with, we're doing our best to hit that finish line as fast as we can, because again, we know, again, the people who are of age now built this community up, from the steel mills in the south side and along the rivers, and again, if this is a way that we can give back, we're happy to do it. So, again, heading to the break here in a few moments, what are you most excited about now that you're collecting Social Security and, starting to peak a little bit out Medicare? What has you excited looking ahead?
I can do more for my children. Not that they need it, but there's something gratifying about being able to just give that little helping hand when needed. And there's nothing, in my opinion, more satisfying than being a parent. It's a true blessing.
I mean, this is really what Pittsburgh is all about, right?
Right.
You're
Family.
always family, looking after the next generation, which is something again during your radio programming away from the MediConnect hour on Saturdays. You listen in at any time talk when Rob is talking. He is always talking about advancements for our region, and again, one of the main reasons why you're such a powerful voice in broadcast is because you truly do care about what has taken place in the neighborhoods around.
Listen, I've said many times my show is for the nurse who's working the swing shift
Mm.
at one of the healthcare brands who is waiting for the Port Authority bus at 11 o'clock at night, the cab driver, the person who is the carpenter, going to work early in the morning to pound out another day and to make a paycheck for their family, the local school teacher, the people of clergy